But Pete, so this just came out. I want to pull this up and play the audio as Texas A&M doesn't waste time giving bulletin board material to the best defensive lineman in the country. So I'll just play the clip and we'll go from there. Oh, let me get the sound on. Hold on. One day I'm going to figure this out, Pete. I promise. So here we go. Let's see what they say about old Rueben Bain.
Really the key to stopping Rueben Bain was like top pick, potential.
I haven't had the time to watch any film yet since it just got announced, but I don't think he'll be a threat that we need to worry about too much. We have great players, we got a great offensive line, so we'll be able to handle him.
I love it. I love it because one thing about Bain that we've seen is he's a crazy person, and that he is going to use that for motivation. He had, remember the whole notepad, people thought he was just putting on a show when he was writing about how he was going to kill Notre Dame. Then he ended up completely annihilating Notre Dame's offensive line. We saw him end the game against Pittsburgh. He had a little bit of a cold spell. He's still impacting the game in a major way, but
that's what I was going to say, though. I think it's stupid to say that. Stupid. Like, should not have. And with that little smile, that little grin on his face, too. I'm sure that Bain's going to want to slap that little grin off of him. What I will say is this, and I put this in the comments a second ago, without having heard it. I did not hear it. I know how these players operate, D. The first thing they're doing is going to look at the stats. The first thing they're doing is look at the box scores. Rueben Bain has 19 tackles this year, solo tackles, and 4.5 sacks. If you are an opposing player, you scoff at that. If you're a guy who's on the level that this is a big-time offensive line, like we've talked about, if you are in that mindset, you look at that, and I put in the comment, I said, I'm going to bet you he hasn't watched film yet. Once he watches film, his opinion, that's exactly what I just said. I literally just, I'm going to pull up the comment. And again, this was without me having known what was said here. I said he has 4.5 sacks this year. I can see why they say that now, but I'm sure their opinion will change once they watch film. So
yeah, and that's
I think that's really what it is, but stupid.
Incredibly stupid. And look, again, I have to dig deep and watch this Texas A&M offensive line more. I liked them when I did see them, like just watching games, not really looking as a potential Miami matchup. However, again, you look at the times that they've played real defensive lines, like real deal, like NFL defensive lines. Of course, Rueben Bain is going to be a top 10 pick, so you put him right there in that category. They have struggled. So you look at Texas last week. They only got 2 sacks, but they completely stifled 5 tackles for loss, completely stifled Texas A&M, only 7 points. You go back to Auburn, where they scored 16 points, won the game, but I believe it was 4 or 5 sacks for that Auburn front. So is this Texas offensive line as good as we think in the stats show on the season, or are they maybe beating up on teams that aren't quite as good as what the University of Miami is going to throw at them up front? They did play Missouri. Missouri has some really, really good defensive linemen, and I think they pretty much held those guys in check as I look here. Yeah, so only 1 sack against Missouri, so that was a good performance. You're going against Zion Young, although Damon Wilson, yeah. So they did a good job in that game. So they've dealt with some good ones, but yeah, as Ladarius points out, Dylan Stewart beat him up pretty good. So there's levels to this thing. They're a good defense. They're a good offensive line, but there's levels. And I think when you talk about the Rueben Bain Messidor level, as you heard Nick Saban talk about him, 2 sacks for South Carolina, Dylan Stewart with 1 big one. But yeah, there's levels. And I think the level is the highest it could possibly be when you talk about Rueben Bain. So good. This is good. This is exactly what we needed to see. I hope there's more of this coming out, because that was the wrong person to talk to. You've never seen this when we had Fast Times in Ridgemont High. One of the things they did is they took the star player, I believe his name was Jefferson, for Ridgemont High, and his own fans destroyed his car, his favorite car, and they spray painted it with the other team's logo to make it seem like the other team did it to him. And then he went out and completely annihilated the other team. I think that's the kind of performance we're going to see from Rueben Bain here. A Jefferson Ridgemont High type performance. There it is, Vegas Kane, his Camaro. This is like smashing up Rueben Bain's Camaro. He's gonna be he's gonna be ready to kill these guys. They gotta block Messidor too, right? They gotta block a lot of guys that are gonna cause them problems. So I'm fired up. Get Blade back.
Moten's been Miami's best, probably best. You could argue Moten's been Miami's best defensive player the last month of the year, D.
You can. And you could also argue Justin Scott. I mean, Justin Scott's running down the sideline, making plays in the backfield. Those two together have been hell, which again makes it hard because you're chipping Bain, right? Now you got to deal with Messidor too. Those guys are wrecking havoc, and then Heatherman will dial up blitzes when it's time. So it'll be interesting. You know, I think it's kind of like Pitt in that you're not necessarily hunting for sacks. You're trying to definitely collapse the pocket, but also contain and use your power on the outside with Bain and Messidor, not just two of the best defensive ends in the country, but two of the best power knockback defensive ends in the country, two bigger guys, probably play defensive tackle if they needed to. Messidor has already done it. So if you could just knock back and keep Reed in the pocket, I think you're really, really making it tough for him to get into his game, especially when you have defensive tackles potentially coming in from the interior while you're not able to escape side to side because the defensive ends are knocking back the offensive tackles. That's how you really force Reed into a situation, which again, good quarterback, run, pass. I like Marcel Reed better than I thought he was going to be, quite frankly. He's a good player. But if you force him to be a pocket quarterback, he's not that. He's a smaller guy. He's not the most accurate passer. He'll throw it to the other team. That's when I think you get him at his worst. If you can compress the pocket, force him to be one-dimensional. And with Bain, you know he can knock the players back. He's going to be going after this dude, whoever this guy was.
I will say, D, this is exciting because it's going to be a fun week of banter between Mike and you in regards to Kevin Concepcion.
He's good. I said that Restrepo was better than him last year. I think he had like 300 yards, and Restrepo was an All-America first team. We always said this guy had talent. Obviously, had more NFL talent. He's more explosive. So you know, he's
the argument at the time was who you'd rather have. I think.
Well,
And I'll say Mike's argument has held up pretty well here.
It actually held up quite poorly because he had 300 yards last year, and Restrepo was a first-team All-American. If you're asking me who would I rather have,
playing in a different situation,
long-term NFL, like long-term NFL upside, was that ever the discussion? I would have said Concepcion. He's faster, right? He's more explosive. If you're asking me,
situations matter. Situations matter.
All right. Well, let me ask you this: Concepcion's been great this year. I mean, outstanding. He's going to be drafted probably first, second round. He had probably, he had 886 yards. So let's compare the stats since we're doing this.
Oh, but they also had multiple guys that they throw the ball.
Let's look at the stats here since we're talking about this again. And I acknowledge that Concepcion's an extremely dangerous player, explosive player. He's going to be a very important matchup for Miami to worry about when we deal with him. But I'm pretty sure Restrepo last year, 1,100 yards plus, 11 touchdowns, 16.3 yards per catch, and was a first-team All-America. Concepcion,
not taking anything away from Restrepo.
886 yards for Concepcion this year. So he had less yards per catch. So this is not dick and dunk. Restrepo actually had more yards per catch than the explosive Concepcion and more touchdowns. So yeah, I do think for the college level for the Hurricanes, Restrepo is the best player, the best receiver of all those guys by far last year. He's out now. He's in the NFL. Concepcion's more of a prospect. He's got more speed. He's explosive.
I think if you ask a defensive coach or a player who's keeping them up more at night, it's probably Concepcion.
That's fine. Luckily, they don't judge him on keeping up at night. They judge him on catching the ball. And Restrepo, for whatever reason,
I want someone that's better at catching the ball. That's hard to game plan for.
Touchdowns.
I'm not saying X isn't, but
yeah. Other than the yards per catch, the amount of catches, the yards, and the touchdowns, I think Concepcion's the better player.
I guess time will continue.
Aside from catching the ball
I think time will continue to tell the story, man. Time will continue to tell the story.
Oh, he'll be a better NFL player. Listen, he's faster. He'll be NFL.
Okay, so he's more dynamic.
College football. One guy's in the rafters, the other guy,
I want someone who can break the game open, man. I'm sorry.
Well, then why does Restrepo average more yards per catch than Concepcion?
Like I said, the story will tell itself over time, man. It's
he will be if you ask me who's going to be better pro over time, I would say, yeah, he probably has a better chance of being a better pro. Concepcion, his speed's going to give him a chance. He can return kicks.
The funny thing is, this is the opposite of the argument you used with Reggie Bush and Clinton Portis.
Clinton Portis was better in college than Reggie Bush. Clinton Portis was a better college player than Reggie Bush. He wouldn't get the hype Reggie Bush got, but in real games, like in real opponents, I'd take Clinton Portis in a good college team against a good college team than Reggie Bush all day. Reggie Bush had a college friend, Lendale White.
I'll let the audience. I will let that comment sit then, and I'll let the audience.
I'll let it sit right here. Clinton Portis is better than Reggie Bush in high school. He was better than Reggie Bush in college. He's better than Reggie Bush in the pros. Clinton Portis is better than Reggie Bush at every level. Period. Reggie Bush had cool highlights against Fresno State, and then when he had to run inside, let's bring in Lendale White because Reggie Bush can't run inside. Clinton Portis could run inside. He can crack big runs at the NFL and in college, and of course won a national championship as the bell cow. Clinton Portis over Reggie Bush all day, unless you're just watching TikTok highlights. If you're watching real football games, Clinton Portis over Reggie Bush all day. Reggie Bush would have been the fourth best tailback on the 2001 Canes because he could not run with power. The other guys could take it to the house and they could run inside. That's why they're better. Reggie Bush, great for TikTok highlights. Great for Madden. Real football, he would have been the fourth tailback on the 2001 Canes, and that's the bottom line.
You got it.
Anyways, I digress. Go Canes.
You got it.
Hey, facts are facts, my friend.
That's a wild statement, man. It's a wild.
Well, I mean, they all were better. They were all better pros, and they were all better in college in terms of what they actually did on the field, meaning run inside and also break long runs and pass block and do all the things that a back can do. They did everything. Reggie Bush did a couple things. Great highlights, though. He did a cool joystick move against Fresno State and guys that were bagging groceries the next year. Other than that, great player. So what's up? What are we talking about?
This is one of the most wild statements I've ever heard, man. It's
what did Reggie Bush do better? What did Reggie Bush do better?
Down on a Heisman Trophy winner, man. Listen. Like I said, I have nothing to argue. You got it, man. I will let the jury decide on that one.
There it is, right there. Jury knows what's up.
You guys got it.
Jury knows what's up. Reggie Bush, cool highlights though. TikTok, I give the edge to Reggie Bush. 3rd and 2, and then also having the ability to bust the 70-yard.
I can't wait for bagging up to hear this. I can't wait for bagging up to hear this episode.
And bagging up can hear the episode, man. Bagging up can hear the episode. Reggie Bush. I can't. It's 3rd and 2. Lendale White, get in here. Hurry. It's not Fresno State. Lendale White, we need you. Clinton Portis didn't need Lendale White. Clinton Portis was the Reggie Bush and Lendale White in one player. That's the difference. Bottom line.